So we're going to start part 2 now. I've opened up our template. I made a few changes to the template file. I put the weight over on this left side, our scale here, and this will be sheet 1 of however many we have. So I just started out 1 of 1. So that's our new template file. You can see up here it says template draft. What we'll do is just say file, save. And now we're going to we'll do a file, save as, and we're going to call this part 2. Part 2 is the posts. That's all set. Now we're going to start a new ANSI part. And this post, we'll have the drawings up on Blackboard, but the post is a 1/2 inch diameter, 6.375. We actually have 2 of them, but we only need to model 1. We'll just copy it in. So we're going to start with a circle. This post is going to be vertical, so I want to start on my YX plane, lock it in, put our circle in the center. We're just going to key in 0.5 for diameter, and right click. Now we'll extrude this. We're going to extrude this straight up. Just click it, hit enter, and we'll come up a distance of 375. We'll do a fit view, and there we have it. Let's rotate this back to an isometric, and actually we'll tilt it back on its axis so we can see this end point. What we're going to need to do is drill a couple threaded holes in here. So hopefully I can get this correct. Just going to grab the hole and drop down the hole options. We're going to do a not a counter bore, but a threaded hole. It's going to be 1/4 -28 UNF is the thread size. Just a standard. Fit's going to be 2B, which is just a medium thread. The depth of that thread is going to be 0.4, and the hole depth is going to be 0.65 according to my drawings. There's our hole. I just want to be able to find the center point. You'll notice if I just hover around that outside, it'll find it. Left click, and it'll kind of indicate that it's placing the hole. There we go. We can see the threads on the inside. Now what we need to do is do the same thing on the other end. So we'll just spin this around. There's the other end. Go back to our hole. I guess I should have saved that. Maybe it and drop this down. Should have saved it, but I messed up. 1/4 28 UNF, sorry. There's a 0.4 depth, 0.65 on the hole. We'll put a V bottom. I should probably have put a V bottom on the other one. We'll see if we can adjust that. We'll say OK. Get right along the edge. There's our center point, and just right click. So we can see, if we look at this in a front view, I guess it's just going to be this way. I think what I want to do, so this one's good. This one I think needs to be a tapered hole. Let me just drop this down, see if we can adjust it. Say yes, we want the bottom to be tapered, and just say OK. And that should have taken care of it. I can see the taper there. We'll do a fit view again. Now, as far as the summary goes, and what we should do is kind of create a template for our summary, and maybe we can do it with this one. So we'll just do a File, Properties. Let's first of all put some material on this. This is actually a piece of aluminum, 6061T6, right there. Apply that to the model. Bada bing, there we go. So we can see our piece of aluminum, nice. And we'll go back to our summary again for properties. Let's go to File, Properties. On our summary, the title of this one is going to be Post. The subject, Steam Engine. C. Junkins. Manager, MET 121. Company, the University of Maine. Statistics, units, inches, project number. This is 2, document number 2, because it's part 2. Revision 0. Project name, we'll just say Steam Engine again. Status, preview, and custom. I'm just going to say OK. Now that we got this done, let's do a file, save as. Let's do a save first, and we're going to call it part 2. And say save. And now we're going to do a file, save as. If you don't already have, I created one here, but I'm just going to call it part template and hit save. And yes, I want to overwrite it. So if you haven't had that, this will take care of all that information we have in the summary, at least the basic, and we'll just change the material. And then we can just select this and hit our delete key. Yeah, I know. And go back to our isometric. Come on. Doesn't want to stick for me. There we go. And do a file save. File close. And we'll get back to our part 2 draft. So this one's all set, and we'll open up our part 2. There we go. Don't really need to open it. We're going to go back to our draft now, and we're going to import our file part 2. Just say open. Next, we want the top view, I think. Hit next and finish. And this says 10:1. Let's go 1:1. So this is just the end of the pipe, and I'm just going to place it right over here. There it is. And I can just pull this side over and left click, and there's our end. So we can see our threads. Everything is there. Down here at the bottom, got a little bit of information that we forgot. The note is missing. So we'll fix that. Basically, it's because I didn't have a note. So I'm going to take my selection tool. Whoops. I don't really want to change it. I just want to change the size of the text. And we'll go back over here to our part. Do our properties. And I needed that note down here in the comments. Wise specified. Dimensions are in inches. Angles plus or minus 0.1. 2 places plus or minus 0 or 0.01. 3 places plus or minus 0.002. I'm just going to do a Control C. We'll say OK. Do a file, save. Back to my part. There's my note. Very good. And I'm going to open up my template. recent documents, part template. Go to my properties, file properties, summary. Get down here, do a Control V. Oh, come on. Won't let me paste that text in there. Bugger. We'll just retype it. Plus or minus 0.1. Whoops. Say OK and do a file save. And we'll close that up. Okay. As we move, we get things kind of straightened out here. Do a fit view. Now let's do some dimensioning. Dimension the length of this without any notes. 6.375 looks correct. And let's see on this end. And I want a prefix on this one. We'll clear, would be diameter. And apply. Stick it right here in the middle. Clear. And we're going to select move it over just a little bit. Maybe we'll move this one this way just a bit. Give us a little bit more room. Now we need to identify that hole. So we're going to go to our Smart Dimension. We've turned on our prefix and suffix 2 times. And we're going to say the diameter is 211, so it's going to be a hyphen, a depth of 0.650 hyphen 1/4 -28 UNF hyphen 2B, it's the fit, hyphen to a depth of, and our depth of 0.400. Hit apply. We're going to go to the inside of this. And I'll put it down here. Okay. Take my selection tool. Just wondering. What I'm doing is just wondering if some of this could go on a separate line. I won't hold you up. I'll figure that out later. I'd like to make that 2 lines, but I need a method to do that. So I think it's down here where you can put a separate line, so I'll just cancel that out. We'll leave this the way it is. I'm going to put a title on here. Normally I'm not seeing much of a title, so I'm just going to say end view. And front. Learn to type. Scale is 1:1. This is the actual size on an 8.5 by 11 paper. Front view, end view. I want to put a center mark, and probably if I drop this down, I'll put this in at 2. There's our center mark on our end pipe. Although I don't like the size of it, I want to go a little bit bigger. That looks better. I want it to stick out just a little bit around the edges. Very nice. There's our thread. You can see our thread depth just goes to here, but the hole goes all the way down and it has a drill bit bevel on the end, 118 degrees. Everything else is automatically filled out. We're all set. We're going to do a file. This is part 2, save. We're going to do a file, print. I'm going to print to an Adobe PDF file. We're going to put this in part 2, post, hit save. And there's our print. All complete. And next we'll do part 3.